welcome back to I Am Leminiscent. Okay, this is where astrology meets intuitions. We're going to take a deep dive into the stars today. We're going to talk about Saturn retrograde. Okay, I got my notes here pulled up to help keep me together because sometimes I get a little drifted. But sit back, get cozy, grab a journal or a notebook if you're taking notes, and let's talk about it.
And I see it's gone to some astrology. Well, baby, I can see your face.
Okay, so everyone, we're gonna take a deep dive into Saturn retrograde, one of the most profound and transformative periods in astrology. Saturn represents the planet of karma, discipline, and structure. Okay, Saturn is here to teach us lessons and guide us through those lessons that can give us very deep personal and spiritual growth. And connected to karma is the flesh. Okay, Saturn governs the 3D reality. Okay, just to let you know. All right, so let's get into what is Saturn retrograde. Okay, so of course the visual, physical, the astronomical explanation is seeing the planet get as close to Earth as possible before it slows down. And from our perspective, because we're still moving on Earth, it looks as if it's not moving at all and that is going backwards. But astrologically speaking, planet Saturn is the planet of rules, boundaries, and long-term goals. So when it does retrograde, we're going over our contracts, our commitments, our responsibilities. Any karmic lessons we have to face gets dealt with during the retrograde because you need to review what you've been doing, actions, words, attitudes, like things you put out into the universe is coming back to collect. Okay. This is also a time for us to reevaluate our boundaries and limitations. Okay. Saturn governs commitments, boundaries, and karma and responsibilities. Okay. So, unlike the Jupiter retrograde, which we just talked about last week, Jupiter's retrograde is about, Jupiter period is more about expanding on things, the magnifying glass, the, emphasis of things. Number three, right? But Saturn is about restriction, limiting, forcing things to kind of slow down a bit. So Saturn's retrograde is about us being introspective and taking accountability. And people who like me who were born with Saturn retrograde, we automatically have that, you know, I want to call it a gift. We automatically have that thing about us that we're always assessing and being introspective about, is this solid? Is this real? Is this something I can stand on? Me having Saturn trine my Mars, I'm definitely in Virgo, I'm definitely way more critical about how my life goes and how it functions to a certain extent, especially when I'm real versed in something. I can be real critical about whether this is something that's going to last or not last. So, during the retrograde, we may ask ourselves, are we building our life on a solid foundation? Because Saturn comes around once every approximately 30 years. So it's very important that when the teacher comes back to see how have you been doing, have you been following the instructions, we want to be, hell yes, I follow all the instructions no matter how difficult they were. All right, so let's get into some key energies regarding Saturn retrogrades. So Saturn retrogrades thing does, like with any retrograde, depend on the sign it is currently occupying. So, of course, Saturn traditionally rules Capricorn and Aquarius, but now we associate Aquarius with Uranus. But in this regard, we're going to take it back to traditional. Okay. When Saturn retrogrades in its own signs of Capricorn and Aquarius, for Capricorn, this is the time for us to reflect on our career goals and discipline. In Aquarius, this is about reassessing our roles in community and innovation because Aquarius rules big crowds of people and relationships and how we can network with each other. And then Capricorn career goals and discipline, that's traditional, Saturn energy with Capricorn. So it is about things lasting, having a legacy that you're creating to go the long haul for the long distance. And some other examples of personal growth or challenges that can come up are revisiting old responsibilities and making necessary adjustments. Okay, if something hasn't been working out very well for you during Saturn return is a great time to go back and restructure. Okay, the re's during the retrograde, you can restructure. Facing consequences of past actions, both positive and the more challenging ones. Okay, so because Saturn is more of a reprieve of energy, like allowing us to get our ish together, we have the ability to go head first and say, you know what, it's time for me to stand up and take matters into my own hands and face the fate that I've been dealt because I created my reality. So take accountability. Okay. And Saturn likes that. Saturn likes when you take accountability and responsibility for the things that you've done. So no matter, things do matter. But it's like once you accept responsibility for the things that you've done, regardless of whether you knew or not knew already, Saturn can be like, okay, well, I'm glad you see your ways, and I don't feel like the punishment or the correction or whatever will be as harsh as we may believe it to be. The hardest part I feel is us admitting that this something is our responsibility or we are accountable to something, even if we didn't fully grasp that concept before when it was going on. Feeling restricted, which prompts creativity and overcoming obstacles. So again, Saturn is about restrictions and limitations. And that feeling when the retrograde is restricted is like you can't do something because maybe some sort of blockage. And it could be all it's in the thing about Saturn and Capricorn energy too is it's in here first. So whatever is in here is going to portray it out there around us, right? So if we're feeling restricted during the retrograde, it's because we've restricted ourselves to, believing something is extremely limited in our life. And the retrograde is giving us opportunity to get creative to find a way around that, around that boundary or that blockage because we can see ourselves on the other side. We just have this wall up, so it's time to get creative. Um, Re-examining your relationships with authority or self-discipline. So, if you've grown up in households where you're used to someone constantly on your back or looking over your shoulder, checking and checking and checking again, make sure you've done certain things, it can be kind of hard to move away from that type of energy where you put all that on yourself to perform and be the best and be super ambitious. So if you didn't have a good relationship with the authority figures in your life, it can be kind of hard to grasp self-discipline because if you didn't respect your authority figures and now you're the authority, which Saturn teaches us, you're the authority figure of your life, regardless of what's going on or who you have a life with, it can be kind of challenging to develop self-discipline habits. So the retrograde gives us opportunity to start developing the habits. So when it goes direct, we have something to kind of, hold on to help us sustain whatever changes or structures we're trying to build. It'll help maintain the consistency of it. And consistency doesn't mean the exact same amount every single day. Consistency means you still show up regardless of how you feel. Okay, which is why Capricorns in Aquarius too sometimes suppress their emotions a bit because it's like sometimes it's just not about your feelings. Sometimes it's about getting it done. Okay, so moving on, how to navigate Saturn retrogrades. Okay, so here's some practical tips, some do's. We want to reflect on the commitments we've made, set some realistic goals, and to learn from our challenges. So when it comes to reflecting on our commitments, we want to basically look at them like, are they aligned with who we are, or are we just doing things just to say Are we just chasing clout, or are we digging ditches for the Most High to fill with water so we can sprout and grow? Realistic goals. We want to reassess the timelines and expectations. Sometimes we have goals that we know we can do and reach, but they may not be very realistic for the time being. It doesn't mean that you'll never reach that goal. It just means maybe you need to put a bit more details in your action plan, which could be, having a goal each week that all align, that all kind of stacks up to you accomplishing the actual, goal of the thing, right? So reassess your timelines and expectation. Be more, I hate to say more realistic, but it's like be more, give yourself some room to actually grow. Don't suffocate yourself with all of these plans and rules and regulations that you end up not being able to actually grow and accomplish the things that you're working on. Okay, give yourself some time to get things done. All right, and as long as you're getting it done, it's being done. So no stress. All right. When it comes to learning from challenges, we want to embrace obstacles as opportunities for growth. Um, as a, God loves a cheerful giver, so give all of yourself to your obstacles, because ultimately, when you go through the obstacle, it turns into an opportunity for growth because you've given your time and your energy to something that is going to help structure your life to be on a solid foundation. And when you have a strong root chakra, you know who you are, you grounded in yourself, you know that you're secure, you know that you have a purpose and a destiny being here that no one can thwart, no matter how hard they try. There might be delays, even of your own doing, but your purpose is still your purpose. Like when you're strong in that, in your purpose of why you're here, and you're strong in your being here, you will allow yourself to go through those obstacles. You'll allow yourself to go through those lessons because you know, regardless of what other people think and feel about the lessons you're here to learn, you are on your way. Okay. So, some don'ts. Avoid shortcuts. Saturn does not like people who try to take shortcuts in life. Okay. This is very important, especially after the first Saturn return, because during the Saturn return, when you start to wake up and realize, like you start to have a growing awareness about yourself, that over the last 7 year intervals from your birth, 7, 14, 21, and then back again to 28, you start to realize that those years you were starting to accumulate more of your self-awareness, but it didn't fully come all the way until you had your Saturn return. And going through Saturn return, you get a chance to, okay, scrap all the structure that you were given, and now it's time to create your own structure, something you have to be completely responsible for, because it creates self-sufficiency, which is what Saturn wants from you. So when you try to create shortcuts, well, I'm gonna just do this and rely on this person, and it's like, nope, start over. And it's like every time you get to a certain spot, and you're doing it, and then you may fall back into a habit. Cancer is opposite Capricorn, right? You may fall into some type of habit where from that you learned from your past, and then you go back to square one of that same situation, or whatever lesson that Saturn is giving you in your chart that's based on the sign and placement, and you start all over again. And it can be very nerve wracking, but eventually you start to see what your pattern is that Saturn is trying to get you to learn and overcome, not to make you feel like it's just going to get worse every time. It's like, no, you actually have the strength and the power to overcome the challenge. So to don't shortcut the lesson, because you're only shortcutting yourself. Okay. So Saturn rewards perseverance and integrity. As long as you keep persevering, you keep moving forward, and you do the right thing no matter who's watching, Saturn will reward you. And it's always in it. Saturn always rewards, always come in like it paid off. Like and there's no amount of money that can buy that. It's only you putting in your work. Okay. And that's what Saturn wants from you. Okay. That's why Capricorn, Saturn, Aquarius even are the boss. All right. Don't resist reflection. Use this time to confront uncomfortable truths. Okay. And that kind of goes back to the same thing what I was saying before, where you have to take accountability for the things that you've done, regardless of whether you knew it was the right or wrong thing at the time of your doing it. The whole purpose is to gain enlightenment. All right. Some journaling prompts for Saturn retrograde. What responsibilities feel aligned with my higher purpose? Where in my life am I avoiding accountability? And the last one, how can I create stronger boundaries to protect my energy? How can I create stronger boundaries to protect my energy? Right? Saturn is very big on protection because it's time. The rule is time and physical matter. And in the hoodoo, I'm so happy I got this deck with this hoodoo tarot deck. The devil card is Miss Robinson. If you have the deck and you know that card, like, child, let me tell you about protection. But yeah, Saturn is all about protection. Like, your time has to be protected. That's the biggest asset you'll ever have. Time is number one, money is number two. Okay. And your flesh, you gotta protect your body. Saturn rules the bones and the bone structure in the body, including your teeth, like your, the mandible, all that stuff. So, and the joints and the bones help protect the organs, and it also protects you by helping you to move your body to create heat and excrete things that need to be pushed out your body to make room for the new and the growth to happen inside your body to keep you healthy. Okay. So Saturn is very big on protection. So some tools for alignment. Okay, my black obsidian is over there. I love black obsidian. I love obsidian. Oh my god, I love obsidian. But crystals, black obsidian, smoky quartz, and fluorites. Okay, black obsidian is really good with grounding, protection, transmuting negativity into positive energy. A smoky quartz or citrine helps release negativity and fosters clarity. Okay, hence smoky quartz, clarity. It's with the smoke. Okay, it's with the smoke, and then because it's the actual crystal, it's crystallizing, like it's making things clear and structured. Okay, fluorite supports focus and organization, and I actually do have a fluorite, like a purple fluorite, a little piece. The fluorite is really good with getting your mind clear to focus on something and helping you be more productive with whatever it is that you're focused or doing, as well as, creating a sigil and burning it so you can focus on whatever that is. All right, so some herbs we have here: rosemary, cypress, and thyme. Okay, of course, thyme, Saturn. That encourages your courage of yourself as well as resilience in time. Rosemary is very good with protection as well, but it focuses on mental clarity and memory. Definitely keep a rosemary plant around or use rosemary often when it comes to making sure negative energy stays away. Cypress, it symbolizes endurance and strength. Okay, that's a really good herb to have. And these are herbs you can, especially three, magic of three. You can like actually boil water and put it into like a bucket with these herbs already in there and create a floor wash. Okay. And then you can add a little salt and tell the salt what you want it to do and clean your floors, make a floor wash. Okay. You can add some other things for like scent and like, essential oils or milk or whatever it is else you would like to do, or fruit. All right, so some daily practices for Saturn retrograde: reflective journaling to assess your progress and your growth, meditation to connect with your inner higher wisdom, and grounding exercises like going outside for a walk, spending time in nature, putting your feet in the grass for grounding as well. That'll help you stay centered because Saturn stays centered. It does not focus on what everyone else is doing. It focus on what it's doing. Okay. Capricorns are not mean. They just know how to preserve the self. Okay. So we're gonna get into some insights by the zodiac signs. Okay, so here's a quick guide to how Saturn return might affect each sign. So starting with Aries, it's a square, but Saturn retrogrades forces you to reflect on your leadership, how you lead others, and your long-term goals. Taurus, reevaluate financial plans and values. Gemini, focus on communicating and learning. Okay, concentration. Cancer, assess your boundaries in home and your emotional life. Okay, not this is an opposition, so it's about creating balance with those boundaries. Leo in conjunction, kind of an irritating thing. But Leo, reflect on creative projects and personal fulfillment. Okay, that requires having boundaries up so that you can focus on completing those projects as well as feeling that personal fulfillment or pleasure from accomplishing your goals. Virgo, reassess health routines and daily structures. Okay, now this is kind of like an easier thing to do. It's just that with the reassessment is don't go overboard with it. Okay, don't put yourself in a box where you're so healthy routine, you're so daily structured that you leave no room for error or for play. All right, Libra, examine relationships and partnerships. Saturn exalts in Libra. Okay, so it's very important that Libra has integrity. So examine your relationships and partnerships, and if you find yourself lying or not being 100% transparent and authentic, you need to evaluate the relationship just straight up and why you're even partnering up with that person, whether it's platonic, business, or pleasure. Scorpio, dive into deep transformation, deep personal transformation at that. Now, Scorpio Saturn is about being having integrity when it comes to alchemy, trust. So for Scorpio, diving deep into your personal transformation means not being afraid to change, to recenter yourself. Okay. Sagittarius, reflect on beliefs or higher learning. Okay. Now, because Capricorn is 12th house to Sagittarius, this is a very good time during the retrograde for Sagittarius to reflect on what values they have in their life. You want to reassess your beliefs and how they connect with the things that you actually value in your life that keep you. Because Sagittarius rules the belief systems, the rituals that are being done. Saturn is asking you to maintain, again, protection and integrity and being responsible for the things that you believe because what you believe is sure to make its way to your physical existence and you got to be responsible for that. All right, Capricorn, focus on career goals and self discipline, which we did go over. And Aquarius, reevaluate your role in community and innovation. Pisces, deepen spiritual practices and emotional resilience. Okay, we're going through Saturn Pisces right now. The retrograde ended, I believe, in October, but it'll be back again for the summer. So, deepen your spiritual practice, get deep into the beliefs itself, not the belief system, but the beliefs themselves. Evaluate those, deepen whatever spiritual practice are actually working for you. Okay, because Pisces is beliefs and Sagittarius is the belief system. So, emotional resilience, of course, Pisces is no boundaries, but Saturn is boundaries. Okay. So, in order for you to have that emotional resilience, you will have to practice having some strong boundaries. And most likely, you will find that your boundaries come from your spiritual practices. So, if your spiritual practices make you feel safe and grounded and centered, then you will be practicing those on a regular opposite Pisces is Virgo. Practicing those on a regular basis will help you create more emotional resilience as well as ward off energies that do not align. All right. So, even though the retrogrades can be kind of challenging, it is a time for us for focusing on our personal growth, which can be extremely incredible and bring us into realignment. Now, with every challenge, there is opportunity for us to build a stronger foundation for ourselves. So, use every retrograde, especially Saturn's retrograde, to reconstruct your life the way that you want it to be and less about what the industry, the society, or what our parents or grandparents may want us to do. Okay, because Saturn don't is not time is not going to ask you, um, did you get approval from your parents yet? Did you get approval from your teachers yet? Time is going to ask you, what are you doing with yourself? All right. All right. Thank you so much for enjoying and getting through this video. I'll leave a Saturn icon or emoji in the comments if you made it to the end of this video. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoy it. Be sure to like, share this video, subscribe to the channel so you know you get to view more videos and hit the notification bell so you can get alerted when new videos like these are dropping on the channel. Okay. And again, remember the universe is always guiding you. So stay aligned, stay radiant.